Goodwill thrift shop workers. What are some of the strangest things you found in the donations? I was 16 and in charge of going through donations, pricing them, and putting them out for sale. I came across something I didn't recognize, so I did what I always did and slapped 25 cents on it and put it out. A few hours later, a lady brought it back to my boss in the donation room and told her we shouldn't be selling crack pipes. Oops. Damn, is that what people usually do? Who knows what I can find for 25 cents. Maybe I should start checking out Goodwills. I was sorting out some donated items and come across an unusual set of tools. Through some research, we discovered that it was a full transorbital lobotomy tool set. It got donated to a local university for display. Apparently, a vintage set in good condition can sell for around $1,000. LMAO, what who has a full transorbital lobotomy tool set just laying around? Moreover, who just donates something like that without any explanation of what it is? Pretty cool though, I guess. Probably deceased older relative who was a doctor. Lobotomies were done not all that long ago. I was a stalker, not working directly with donations. But goddamn, so many people donate vibrators. All the way from top-of-the-line Hitachi magic ones to retro lil metal things that look like a Wiimote. My ex worked at a value village and said the amount of people who donated shit, blood, cum covered clothes or items was unbelievable. Edit. She also developed the weirdest habit for grading all the pieces of my clothing. She'd feel my leg and then just go B+ and have me wondering what the fuck she's talking about. I've read here that ashes of cremated loved ones is a super common donation. Lots of people just think it's a vase at recently deceased Aunt Bertha's house, not realizing it actually contains the earthly remains of her husband Chuck. I imagine there are plenty of people who donate it fully knowing what it is. Serious question. What _or you supposed to do with ashes you no longer want? My grandmother was one of 9 kids, but through various weird reasons, my mom is the only surviving descendant in her generation of any of them. We have 17 vases of ashes. Most of those siblings, several of their spouses, as well as a couple from older generations. She barely knew any of those people. I never knew any of those people. What are we supposed to do with them? Just keep a dead family shelf in the basement forever? Edit. Thanks for the suggestions. As it happens, one thing we were left by one of those relatives is an empty lot. It's kinda hard to describe. It used to be a small tree farm, but the last time they harvested was '09 and there wasn't money to pay for replanting. It's in a tiny town in North Carolina where property tax is tiny. So I think we'll make a trip up there and make it a family grove cemetery. A grovetary. Edit 2. A GROVYARD. Why didn't I think of that first? Mix all of the ashes together with a little cement mix and make a nice flower pot or memorial or something. I'm serious. Not trying to be disrespectful. You can pay for a plot at a cemetery and get a tombstone that says the family name on it. Otherwise, yes, you will have a dead family shelf like you guys are in The Sims. A high school diploma still in its leather case. We were selling it for $1.39. Also a porn movie inside a Clifford the Big Red Dog DVD case. I really want to make a big red dong joke, but I'm not sure of the best way to phrase it. Clifford the Big Red Dong destroys little blonde chihuahua. Name of the porno I just watched last night. I found a ton of weird stuff. The old ladies I worked with called stuffed animals stuffies, and I always thought it was strange. Well, one day we get a big box, 2x2, labeled stuffies. They opened it up and it was full of dildos, butt plugs, handcuffs, all kind of sex toys. I've never heard so much hootin' and hollerin' in my life. Sounded like a pack of coyotes. Edit. I also found a VHS tape of Lost in Space when I was talking to a coworker. Pulled out the tape and $70 cash fell out. Maybe someone forgot about their hiding place. Thanks for the silver, homie. I didn't know they literally meant stuffies. Used journals. Highlights include someone recounting the time they bit someone, and a tale of an explosive funeral. They make for a good read. But why wouldn't we throw them out? My coworker found a 12-year-old's journal. It was a gold mine of middle school drama. Also had a lot of stories about Jacob from Twilight and wishing she was a werewolf. We read through the whole book and cried laughing. I think years from now that same girl will wonder where that journal is, and desperately wish she had it again. I'm so glad I was never able to keep a journal beyond a few days. My journals would be way more embarrassing than Wolf Girls. Decluttering. I threw a journal from my adolescence in the bin. The journal that graphically described my first period at age 11. 14 crushes ranked in order of kissability. Mortifying youth group tales. Detailed sketches of my fantasy elf wardrobe. Dark times I'd rather not remember. Well, my pack rat dad couldn't stand to see a half-full journal on the curb, so he donated it to a thrift store. Apparently, because later, someone contacted him by mail to return it. Thanks Dad. Thanks stranger. So glad to have that back. Edit. My first Reddit silver? Totally writing this in my journal. 1 Thanks stranger. Greater than thanks Dad. Thanks stranger. So glad to have that back. That journal has magical powers. You'll never be able to rid yourself of it now. Was doing community service at a Goodwill. A Vietnamese guy pulls up, drops off a couple trash bags and dips. We start looking through it all and I find a full 90-quart bottle of 10 milligrams oxycodone pills. So how was the rest of your week? He doesn't remember. A classmate of mine found a human skull that was donated. It still had remnants of human on it. They reported it to the police and turns out it was part of an active murder investigation. 1 Stayed over. I need more details. Unfortunately I don't have too many because it was just a side story in class. But apparently at another store across town they found other parts of the body. He said they never found the killer, but they did find a lot of body parts at several Goodwill stores. Goodwill hunting. Edit. Almost 7 years of Reddit and my gold cherry has finally been popped. Thank you stranger. My aunt's a cop and had to go investigate a donated hand grenade. Edit. People keep asking if this happened in underscore city. So apparently it's super common in America. For the record, keep it classy. San Diego. I got a call from my kid's summer camp once letting me know that he had a grenade with him at camp. It was a dummy training grenade, but it's as real as it gets except that it has no charge or primer in it. I can't believe they didn't call the bomb squad. Not something I found particularly, but something very strange. Every month and a half or so, a man would come by right before we close and would donate a single blank CD. Every single time, my coworkers and I would always put it in and see if anything was on it. There never was. Blank because he erased the evidence off of it and used your shop to get rid of the discs so the data couldn't be recovered and he couldn't be found with the erased discs in his trash. I feel like it'd make more sense to dump it in just a random public trash, rather than somewhere he'd be recognized by the staff. Or just goddamn burn it. It's plastic. Dirty laundry. It happens so often that we had to wear gloves to go through clothing. Washed everything at least once to be safe. Who gets don't wearing their underwear and is like, meh, I'll donate it and not wash it? Edit. To answer common questions. No, it wasn't Goodwill. It was small thrift shop in Chicagoland. In the back we had 7 washers and dryers, and a team constantly going through clothing. A lot was thrown out. Who donates underwear? You'd be surprised. It happened on a regular basis. Wife worked there as a teenager. Worst thing she found was a newborn baby who just passed. A woman high on drugs gave birth in the street. Freaked out and dumped her baby there. Wife found the baby, called police, and the woman was arrested for neglect among other charges. Managed to dodge murder charges somehow. Unreal. I wouldn't be able to handle something like that. Your poor wife. That poor child. This is the most fucked up thing on the whole post. My manager said she came to the shop once and there were bin bags waiting at the front of the store. It was obvious to her going through the bag that a guy had just tipped all of his ex-girlfriend's possessions into bin bags and had donated them to us. All of her possessions, vibrators included. I did find a shirt with a huge picture of a dead fly on it. That's a keeper. When I was about 16, I worked at Goodwill for about 6 months. There was this old homeless man who used to try and sneak inside to sleep and stuff like that. Every day he'd get kicked out pretty quick by one of my female coworkers. After about a month of working there with her, the homeless man came up to the counter she was working at, gave her a Target bag filled with rocks, and left. We opened the bag and find a doll underneath about a layer of rocks. It was so friggin' creepy. The doll looked exactly like her. We flipped it over and the back had her full name sewn into it. She quit about a couple days later because she was worried about that homeless man coming back to the store. This is the start of a horror movie. This homeless man, obviously a vengeful spirit, has most likely haunted this woman into ruin in an early grave. Without a job, she probably became homeless, couldn't find anywhere to sleep, and froze to death. Textbook case. I didn't work at a thrift store, but one of my dad's friends did. One day a large instrument case came in. Inside of it was a Breedlove Black Magic acoustic bass guitar which, when the thing was released, retailed for over $1,000. We snagged the thing for a cool $300. Someone donated an entire trash bag full of dirty diapers, sex toys, lots of sex toys. Some older and more naive workers actually priced them and put them in the sales floor. An old electronic chessboard that was somehow worth $2,000 plus. Some rich old lady came in and donated a Ziploc bag full of gold and platinum jewelry. It was real. Huge Beanie Baby collections. Guess someone finally figured out after 20 years that they weren't a solid investment. It's something you hear about but I never really saw before. Maybe not the strangest, but you actually do find some cool old shit people think is worthless. Cool job for a while. Edit. Drinking some beers now. Ask a former Goodwill employee anything. A trio of mariachi band figurines that were made of prunes. Wait, are you sure it wasn't the California raisins? I guess there's technically 4 of them though. It's the crappy off-brand version, Acapulco prunes. I worked in donations. In the same day we got a pickled baby tiger shark and a coin purse made from a kangaroo. Scroll to monsieur. Edit. For everyone wondering how I knew, it still had the original tag on it. Me and my coworkers were guessing it was an unwanted gift someone felt bad about throwing away. It was not the same person that donated the shark. Who knew my most upvoted comment would be about kangaroo balls? As an Australian, the kangaroo scrotum coin purse isn't at all unusual, not that I know anyone who uses one, but you can buy one in any souvenir store here. Not me, but my cousin. In a big dump of stuff found an entire box of dildos. Like, all kinds. From vibrator ones to ones clearly made from specific molds. In this box of absurdity was one with like 30 condoms on it. Weirdest shit I ever saw. OFC, they threw them away. Edit. We knew some were from custom molds because most of them were clearer colored. But a few were very realistic. Not a worker but at the local Salvation Army, I opened a drawer and found a used tampon. Biohazard. The English title is Resident Evil. I was a receiving and loading lead at a thrift store for a few years. We had this guy that cleaned out storage units for a living and then he'd dump whatever he couldn't flip with us for a tax slip. He pulls up and we're going through it all. Pretty nice stuff. Looked like it was an estate sale. We get it all unloaded and then we start snooping through to see what needs to get brought to where. And we find this green glass vase filled with sand. I started pouring the sand out into the trash so we could figure if the vase was worth using. That's not sand. Somehow we ended up with an unmarked, full urn. Well, you can now say that the last person that got in your way ended up in the trash. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.